It's 2026 and the economy, it's a big question mark. So, what should you be doing to plan for your financial future? Yeah, let's talk about that. All right, folks. So, welcome to today's episode of the Brian Nichols Show. I am, as always, your humble host. And today we are having one of my favorite guests returning to the show, the one and only Joe Lombardi from Iron Hot Financial. Today we are digging into all things around taxes, around investments, all that and more. So, with that being said, here, if you can on the screen here, Joe Lombardi, welcome back to the show. How you been, buddy?
Life is good, brother. Growing, my channel, my socials, my team, my clients, money, most important, right? Yeah, just and then the only thing I'm not growing is my weight, which is good. So a
I
lot
was gonna
thinner from
say,
the
dude,
last
you
time I
look like
came.
literally half the person you were when you were last on the show. What are you doing there?
Yeah, I've spent all my time focused on financial growth and ignoring spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical growth. And for like the last 2 years, I found Jesus and, it really changed my life. And then I found a Bible study guide and I got a personal trainer. And then I met a lot of people that helped me. Then a men's clinic opened up in town and figured out I had low T and then went on testosterone, went on GLP and, really changed my whole life because it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you're unhealthy or you're going to die young. So I've
Yep.
been really trying to focus on that as well.
Well, when we talked about this before here on the show, right? Like my own personal weight loss journey. Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry. We talked about this before when you were on the show last time, right? Like the value of having health, right? And focusing on your wellness, focusing on what makes you feel healthy. Because if you're not feeling healthy, if you're not investing in your health, you're going to ultimately put yourself in a position where you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor, to enjoy the things that you have worked so hard to build, right? So that's huge. That's huge. And Joe, like you're doing this for yourself, right? You're making yourself healthy, but you're doing it for other people. You're doing it for your family. And like with that being said, you're helping other families. You're helping folks who right now they're looking at the world and dude, there's question marks everywhere, right? Like financially, economically, where's the country going? We're going to war with Iran. We see people right now like trying to pay the bills. I see that the credit card debt surpassing the $1 trillion mark, like it's not looking too good, bud. So like maybe I'm doom and gloom. Maybe you got some white pills to deliver today, or maybe you got some sobering truths. But what are you seeing on the economic side of the thing or the financial side of the thing?
Yeah, what I'm seeing is what the mainstream media won't cover, right? Trump talked about it last week at his State of the Union about he is wants the oil, right? And that's what this war has been. That's why we needed Ukraine. That's why the pipeline. Biden was like, I don't know why it got exploded. Who did that? Right? Of course, it was us. It's been a ongoing for almost a decade, just taking the oil because the United States realized the AI and everything, it needs oil, it needs
Yep.
gas, right? It needs natural gas. They're like, you guys can build all the chips, all the robots. If you ain't got the fuel to use them, then you're just gonna be building the statues. So they've been doing nothing but infrastructure building. Most of American oil can't be used here. It's not the right code or whatever, and then so we the biggest exporter out of our country, and we need to build in the Middle East. That's why we're in war right now with Iran. That's why we took over Venezuela. It's all about oil, oil, oil. It's like there's that there was that sketch I saw a long time ago where what's his name from Dave Chappelle
Mm.
was doing the Chappelle show, and he was pretending to be, the president, and they're like, "Why are you going to war?" He's like, "Oil." I mean, who said oil, right? It was like one of my favorite sketches of, like a president of all time, but it really comes down to, why is gold and silver down? Why is crypto down, right? And the reason for that, very simply, is a lot of these countries were holding r their savings account in crypto, in gold and silver.
Mhm.
And then what happened was they need to change those to now to US dollars because now we're 40% of the world's gold and silver or of gasoline. So they had to sell their gold and silver, they had to sell their crypto. And so people are saying, like, how is it going down so much? It must be a tweet. It's like, no, this was all planned, right? So I'm moving a lot of my clients out of their gold and silver positions to the tune of about $20 million since beginning of the year. I sold a lot of my clients at their high, got them out. One client, I saved about $4 million in market loss from when he sold to where it's at now. And it's just being able to predict what's going on, right? People don't know how to look at the whole picture, right? They look at a small little puzzle piece and they're like, "Oh, this is how the world is." It's like that's a one of a 500 piece. You gotta look at what the tariffs did, why they did it, import exports, who's charging what, who owns what, where's the future gonna go, what's happening with AI, what's happening with gold and silver and crypto and interest rates and inflation, and why is the housing market high, and why did interest rates go to 7%, the highest since August of 2023? Like these are the questions that people just are either too busy, they don't know how to look, they don't know where to get the information. That's why I'm building my podcast, Money Talk with Ironhawk, because I wanted to have like a niche. I wanted to have something where people can come to and learn, right? Just raw facts. This is what I'm doing. This is what the millionaires and billionaires are doing. But get away from the government, right? I mean, so many people are like, "Oh, I hate the government." Their retirements with the government, their savings accounts with the government, their bank accounts with the government. Like, they're with the government. I don't care if you hate them or not. They're your daddy, right? So the wealthy people, they move away from that. They go to insurance companies, they go to IRS codes that are way better than 401ks or that's an IRS code, 403b, 457, right? They use different codes properly instead of just blindly investing with the government where half their money's stolen with fees from Wall Street and then half their money stolen with taxes in retirement, state, federal, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security. So it's so vitally important to do these things. But then the average person says, "Well, I know I'm getting screwed, but I don't want to be scammed." Right. I'd rather be screwed and have something than be scammed and have nothing. Right. So they're like looking for something. What else is out there? Let me try crypto. Let me try gold and silver. My strategies work. They've worked for decades, 5-star rated, A plus, published book author. If you've heard me before, you already know all my accolades. But I'm just trying to grow, duplicate myself in the marketplace and get this information out as fast as I can.
If you're focused on long-term health but tired of overcomplicated wellness trends, you already know the frustration. Too many products promise miracles and deliver chaos. Cardio Miracle keeps it simple. It supports nitric oxide and blood flow, foundational elements of heart health, stamina, and overall performance. That means better energy, better workouts, and better recovery, without forcing your body into extremes. If you want health support that actually makes sense, and to get 15% off your order, visit cardiomiracle.com/TBNS to learn more.
Well, and you talk about the gold and silver, right? And the crypto. I mean, just go back to 2020. I was just talking about this over on, so I'm part of the Lions of Liberty network, and we were talking about this where, remember NFTs, right? And how people like spent literally
For a picture of a monkey,
the pictures of a monkey, right? Like, what are we doing?
800K.
It's insane, and people invested in that, and like they were. I mean, God bless him, but like Gary Vee, like, "I'm telling you, this is going to be worth
I
more."
just watched that.
Like
Just
more
watched
my
that.
entire portfolio. This picture of a monkey. I'm like, what are we doing? This
It's
is
like the
goofball.
metaverse. Listen, you want to buy it? You want to drink a Happy Dad in real life, or you want to come to the meta universe and get drunk on fake Happy Dad? I was watching
$80
the
billion investment, by
yeah, I
the
was
way.
watching CoffeeZilla, and I love that. I just love things that like show things for what they are, that point out the real scams,
Yeah,
and I love that.
well, dude, and like that's the thing, right? We saw that the NFTs, you can't listen to any conservative podcaster without hearing an ad for some gold advertisements, right?
Oh
So
my
it's like
god.
it's constant, it's everywhere. And by the way, we all know the elephant in the room that a lot of those, like the gold ones, particularly, they target old folks, right?
I got stories to tell you, brother.
So please do, yeah. Tell us
I
some of these
got
horror stories.
these are true stories on God, right? Trust God, right? So, I had clients that like, "Oh, I bought in for $50,000 4 years ago." And then I'm like, "Oh, that's gotta be worth like 3, 400,000, 200,000 now, 4x, even if it's bad, 3x, 150." We call, it's worth 49.8. And I'm like, "How is
That
something
don't
with
math.
this silver?" And they're like, "Oh, you bought the wrong coins." I'm like, "Wrong coins? It's you buying gold and silver." And this guy got hosed. When I say he was pissed, he was beside himself because he just threw it in. He heard it on one of those conservative talk shows. I don't want to
Trust
say
him,
the
right?
name
I
of the
trust
company,
the conservative
but it's
radio
it's it's a
host.
very normalized name if you know what it is, and it wasn't the only one. I've had 4 or 5 clients. "Oh, I have gold and silver." They see it's up 300%,
Yep.
120%, and they're break even or up 10%. I'm like, the strike prices they bring you in, the VIGs on the way in, the VIGs on the way out, how they calculate it, the growth of the said gold that you have in some random mysterious locational vault in the middle of the garden. It's literally BS. To me, that's the
It's like
definition of scam.
buying property in the moon.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or in the metaverse, right?
Right.
So
But the moon actually exists.
right, that's true, right? So it's one of those things where people think like, and then I have people that hold gold and silver, and again, they got the real gains, but you know how risky that is?
Right.
Like, I had a client, $2.8 million in gold in his house, hidden
His house?
floorboards, like in it, there's no protection. There's no accountability. Someone comes in, robs you, you die. Your family has no idea where the hell you buried it. Perfect example. I had a client, another true story. Had a grandmother, crazy, metals person, millions and millions of silver, gold, this, eagles, this, blah, 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 millions. They tore her house apart. I'm talking, it was a nice house. It was like $1 million house. They ripped up floors, popped walls open with hammers. They still couldn't find it. They caused $700,000 worth of damage to this house, looking for the millions of dollars of gold that was there. They've seen it, that her grandmother had it, and I'll talk about it. And when I die, but she didn't write where it is because she's afraid someone was going to steal it. Someone's going to take it. So, and then when she died, she, from dementia, she just lost her mind. I was like, I don't know where it is. Like,
And he's just gone.
it it's like the crypto people. You hear about the flash drive somebody has with like 80,000 Bitcoin
Yeah,
on
like
it. It's
they're
worth like,
digging through a landfill looking
oh
for
yeah. I
the
mean, you're
quicksand.
talking about $1 billion on a flash drive. Like, what? It's
People
like
do silly things.
the safest place to put your money over the last 200 years, never lost any money, averaging double-digit returns, tax-free, sue-proof, works as a trust, legacy play, is insurance companies. It's managing an IRS code with a life insurance policy wrapped around a trust. That's what the wealthy people do. It's not rocket science. They have the ability where if it goes up, they still have control over it. They still leverage the money. If they die, it's incontestable, legally avoids probate. They need long-term care. They get 30,000 a month, tax-free out. So they're not selling their other high tax, high feed assets like real estate or stock positions. It's the easiest strategy there is. And then from a standpoint of being able to lean your money out, imagine taking a home equity line out of your house, but it can never go down in value, guaranteed. So if
Hmm.
the housing market drops 30 points, you didn't lose anything, right? So it works as that because you're guaranteed to die, right? We know that. Insurance company knows that,
Sure
right?
do.
There's going to be a day that comes where you're not here and you're insuring a factual event in the future because it's guaranteed, right? So the insurance company says, all right, what do you buy? $1 million policy? You want to take 100,000 in cash, 500,000 in cash while you're still alive? Go ahead because we got to pay this anyway. But then there's this thing called non-direct recognition, which is that code, non-direct recognition. All it talks about is when you take distributions out, they non-directly recognize the distribution. So if you had 100,000 in there, you pull $95,000 out, you get 10% rate of return that year. You don't make 50 bucks on the 500 that's left or 500 bucks on the 5,000 that's left. You make $10,000 on money that's not there. So you lean the money out, use that. Most of my clients do either to buy low. I had a client 2 weeks ago buy over 500 grand of Bitcoin. When it was 130, it dropped to 60 and it bounced back up to like 64 and 67 all within a few hours. He took 500K and bought crypto. He's like, Joe, I'm buying it half off. I said, go ahead. He's like, am I still earning interest? I said, yeah, you're still earning the interest. Well, what is that averaging? The last 20 years, 14.82. The last 15 years, 14.81. Tax-free annual compounding returns on your money. That's like making 26% every year in an IRA or in a 401k because you have to pay the tax man his
Mhm, mhm.
so it's what the wealthy people do. It's that strong financial foundation. If you haven't heard me, I'll bore you with the story. My dad fell 3 stories, lost $27 million structure company. My mother died at 52 years old. No life insurance, crippled me financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Right when my wife was 8 months pregnant with my first child, and I just bought my house 3 months before that. Fun times. And then my grandmother had a stroke, led to dementia. She lost $4.2 million to nursing home in Connecticut. That took my grandfather 40 years to build because he owned a masonry company. So he usually blood, sweat, tears, hands, and grind for that. And the state of Connecticut was like, we'll just take that from you. So it's so vitally important to have these strategies, these fire plans, but people don't because they don't want to face the fact they're going to die. They don't want to face the fact they come into this world in diapers. They're coming out of this world in diapers. They don't want to face that. So when it comes, they're like, oh, I didn't know, and nobody wakes up on a Thursday and is like, oh, how's my long-term care portfolio looking today? We don't have that in us, and it's not sexy, right? It's not fun to talk about. So people just don't do it. And then when they actually want to do it because their parents are starting to go through it, their 87-year-old mom, 60, 78-year-old father's going through it. By that time, they're possibly uninsurable. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how the amount of clients I meet that reach out to me, Joe, can I take it? You have cancer, you have heart attack, you're 150 pounds overweight, you went to jail. You can't. You should have done this when you were younger, right? But there are other strategies you can do, but it's so vitally important to get this done. And if you don't do that for yourself, who will?
Yeah. Well, and I'm not going to make excuses for folks, Joe, but to make a comparison to something that you and I both have experienced, right? With our own battles with our weight is the idea of time preference. Your average person, they just don't think about tomorrow,
Mm,
right? Like there's the old song, "Don't stop thinking about tomorrow." A lot of people just don't think about it anymore. And what's happened is people live for today to the extent where they will indulge themselves, right? They will eat themselves to death. They will spend themselves to death. They will focus on that short-term gratification because they're not thinking about the long-term consequence. And vice versa, taking that short-term sacrifice today for a long-term positive outcome. Like when we go to the gym and we work out, we're not doing it because we just love to go to the gym and work out, right?
I
Like
got you.
that's not us. We're doing it because we know if we don't, we're going to gain weight and that sucks. So it's an
Yes.
investment in our health. It's a short-term pain for a longer term knowing, hey, we're going to live a little bit better of a life because we're investing in our health. So I think that's part of it is your average person, you're right. They're not waking up thinking about my long-term annuity plan, but they are thinking about like, hey, my what am I having for dinner today? Right. But how do we get people to think about this stuff, right? And that's the gold, the golden question that if somebody had the answer to, I think we'd be in a good spot. But like, is there an easy button? Is there something people could do besides calling you Iron Hawk Financial, obviously? But like, there are things people can do today to start getting some of these benefits? Because the way you explained it, it sounds so easy. Like you just do this, and this. But I mean, I go and I talk to like Susie Sob story. And I'm like, hey, this is what Joe said to do. She's gonna be like, I do what? What is this? Like, this is a different language. So, are there easy steps? Are there people like you that they can reach out to? Help us. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at your financial health, it's the opposite of your physical health, right? When in your physical health, you're trying to have the least calories. If most Americans are overweight, so I'm just using this example, right? So it's like we're trying to get the least amount of calories in and do the most activity to burn off the last calories. So it's a complete opposite, right? So it's like a reverse loan, right?
Right.
With the monetary system, it's the same thing, but in reverse. It's like you're trying to make the most money. You want more of those dollars and you don't want to borrow old, future dollars because you're paying more than that $1 of value per unit. You're paying, an interest rate, which goes against most of my clients who are Christians, usury in the Bible, right? It was illegal, but then the Jewish people came and we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. So when you understand that it is what it is, right? No matter what side you're on, no matter what political side you're on, whatever, the bottom line is, period, end of discussion, factual, that you have to, every dollar that comes into your house, you have to take 10 or 20% of it and put it away. Could be put away where you need it tomorrow. Could be put away where you need it 6 months from now. My strategy, there's no 59.5 year rule. There's no 10% penalty, no federal tax, no state tax, no FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security tax. You're guaranteed not to lose if the fund you're in goes down because you own option contracts. You can lean the money out. It has life, disability, long term care, critical illness, critical ailment, terminal illness, everything. So that's why, like, work a lot with business owners, right? Because my father was JP Lombardi Builders, $27 million. He claimed, "I didn't know," but I heard I'm aging myself, his answering machine, when I heard, insurance guys, investment guys, financial planners, all reaching out to him because his billboards, his ads, very robust company, a very nice spot in Connecticut, Greenwich, right? One of the most expensive towns in the country. And so he said, "Oh, I didn't know." It's like, no, he didn't make it a priority, right? So making your financial health a priority, making your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health is a priority. Can you out earn this problem? No. I have clients that make $750,000 a year and their net worth is negative. I have clients that combined make $85,000 a year and they're millionaires. Money is all based on how you perceive yourself. If you love yourself, you look forward to your future self and you plan for that. If you do not love yourself, you will drunk scroll at 11:15 to get a quick dopey uh, dopamine hit.
Adobe, yes, I know, Adobe
Yeah,
hit, yes.
a dopamine hit, because you're just so miserable, right?
Yep.
So it's just curing people think, "What is emotional and your relationship with God, and what does that have to do with money?" It's like, well, money is the number one thing talked about in the Bible, first of all. And second of all, you make way better decisions when things are going well in your life than when they're not, whether it's drinking, smoking, drugs, gambling. Those are all things that don't really help you. And I partake in some of those. But it's one of those things where you need to understand there's a balance. And for me, that was the hardest part. Like, I'm an all or nothing guy. And I think we relate similar to that. If there's something we like, we go all in. If we could see it, we'll do it.
Yep.
But if we don't know it's there, of course, besides Jesus, if we don't know it's there, it's like, what do I do? So I built a very simple foundation where I have thousands of clients, of 3,800 clients now. I'm nationwide. I have $3.7 billion right now, protection rollovers in my 23-year career with zero complaints. Look me up with the Better Business Bureau. Look me up on Google. And the reason for it is I have never lost a client a dollar in 27 years. I never charged a client a dollar in 27 years. Your investment advisor charges you. Your accountant charges you. I don't. I actually pay my clients money. So if you roll your IRA or 401k over, my strategy gives you 14%. So I had a client roll over $5 million with me. He got $700,000 to work with me. So now his account's 5.7 real dollars. And that's by a $1.1 trillion company, by the way, called Allianz out of Europe. But it's one of those things where you have to know what the millionaires do. And the quickest way to success is copy a successful person. I did it in my own career. I worked in Wall Street. I worked in Manhattan at Hanover Square in New York City. And I found the top guy. His name was Michael Lynch. He worked at Barnum Financial Group, which was an office of MetLife, the biggest one there ever was, ever created before MetLife was bought out by MassMutual. I just copied him. I used to bring him deals. I'd sit there, listen, smile, see what he does, how he built up strategies, how he sold the strategies, how he handled the strategies, how he reallocated the strategies. And I just took everything I learned and said, I'm going to take the best parts of this gentleman, Michael Lynch. And he had a radio show called Money Talk on WICC in New York City. And I now have a radio show, Money Talk with Ironhawk, right? So I just took everything that he did that worked and said, I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. This guy was a millionaire. He's helping thousands of families. He's working with sports athletes, politicians, celebrities. And who do you think I work with? I work with Fortune 500 companies, sports athletes. So having a last name Lombardi does help. But when you look at it, it's one of those things where it's not rocket sciences. It's just not taught to you. And that is on purpose. Like, think about it. The government owns the educational system. The educational system tells you to invest with the government. The corporations own the government, and only the government tell you the educational system to invest in the government. They told you to invest in corporations inside your government plan. Conflict of interest most. And then you're paying Wall Street, 12B1 fee, Class A share fund fee, money management fee, annual account fee, mutual fund expense fee, a flat AUM fee. Let's say it's 1.5%, which I've seen way higher than that. Let's say it's 1.5%. What's 1.5% times 30 years, right? Now you have your 401k, your IRA. That's 45%. And that's if they were charging you just on your contributions. They're charging you on your contributions and what you accumulated it
Yeah.
to. So if you think about it, let's say you put away 15,000 a year, very simple math for 30 years, 450 grand. Let's say it grew to 3 million bucks, which it won't, but let's just say 1% of that is 30 grand. 1.5% is 45 grand. That's your first, second, and third year contribution stolen from you year 30. Then what about year 29? Let's say that's 40 grand. That's your fourth, fifth, and 10 months of your 12-month contribution on your 6 year stolen from you. So those last 2 years almost steal 6 years of your contribution. That's amortization in a mortgage. That's also amortization inside your retirement account. You kick those blood suckers out of your life. That's what I do. I kick them out. Wall Street, gone. Federal, state government, gone. They're gone. You're bringing in the insurance company. Oh, well, there's a cost of insurance. Yeah. Are you a business owner? Are you a father? Are you a mother? Are you are you a child? Like, do you have anybody that relies on you? Do you want to leave any legacy behind? Joe, I don't have anyone to leave money to. Great. Use the death benefit in cash for long-term care. You can accelerate up to $1.5 million tax-free. That means if I don't have kids, I buy or anyone leave the money to, and I don't like charity, 1.5 million buy, that's all you buy. And then whenever you need the care, you take the whole 1.5 million when you're 78 and use that to hire and fire someone to take care of you. You don't want to be thrown in a 10 by 10 jail cell. Happened to my grandmother. She rotted there. My father with Parkinson's, after he fell 3 stories, it didn't kill him. It just totally disabled him. And then Parkinson's came shortly after. And then he had Parkinson's for 23 years in a nursing home for 11. Do you know how fast 20 million goes? Goes fast. So when you understand that if you don't have a plan, your plan's to fail. And you need to, whether even how small or big, you need to protect you in the future because that's your best case scenario is that you didn't die before you need someone to take care of you. And people just don't want to think about it. And your benefit is, I'll pay you money to do it. You'll make money doing this. Imagine auto insurance policy. That could be an auto insurance commercial. Buy auto insurance from Ironhawk Financial, and we'll pay you 14%. Everyone will do it. But these strategies, they hear the word annuity, they heard the word IUL, IRS code section 7702, life insurance, option contract, participation rates. Like, Joe, I don't know what that is. That's designed that way. The millionaires and billionaires do it. You're talking about a $500 billion annual business. That's how much money. Go type in how much money went into annuities last year. Over 500 billion. How much money went into index universal life policies? Almost 5 billion. Well, where's that money coming from if nobody knows what it is? Right? It's the wealthy people. And banks don't even hold their money in banks. They hold their money in something called BOLI, BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. So if banks use life insurance to hold their money and transact money back and forth because they can still earn money, it's a loan, and once the money goes in there and inch on it forever, aka non-direct recognition. If banks don't use banks, why are you using one?
Right.
Frank Dodd Act? They could wipe you all out and there's no FDIC insurance. Like, and these people just leave their money there and they're like, oh, no, my government likes me. It's like, dude, your slave number, social security number, XYZ. That's who you are. You don't pay them, you go to jail. I don't pay you, you got to try and pay to come after your creditor if I was a contractor or something. They have the gold, they have the power, they have the rules. Try to distance yourself from them. Go to the private sector where hundreds of people are fighting for your business of companies, thousands of products, over 600,000 agents. You go to the government, it's a monopoly. There's no competition. They penalize you. They fee you. They tell you can't take your money at 59 and a half, but then you have to take your money at 72 and a half for RMD so they can steal the taxes that you've accumulated for all those years. And for every dollar you write off in your 401k or IRA, costs you 10. Costs you 10. For every dollar you save, and you ask your accountant the wrong question, how do I save money this year? The real question should be, how do I save money for the rest of my life? Because I'm going to save 100 grand while I'm working. It's going to cost you $2 million in retirement because that money has to come back out. You're deferring. You're not saving. I watch football. Hence, we like Cowboys together, right? When I see a coin flip and you defer to the second half, does that mean you saved the kickoff? Does that mean you saved the kick receiving? No, you still got to do it. So There's a lie in our culture that's lied to you by the educational system. The accountants lie to you. I saved you $10,000. Why to put 40 grand in a government account that's going to grow over the next how many decades or years? That's going to be a higher number just with inflation, especially with all the cash they printed during COVID. And and now I'm going to pay more taxes, and our taxes going up or down. We owe $39 trillion. USDebtClock.org. USDebtClock.org. Go look it up. We owe $39 trillion. Our taxes going up? Well, what was the highest marginal tax rate when I was born in 1984? That would be 70%. 70? How about 1963, 65? 92%? No. Type in 100-year federal tax bracket picture in Google, in Bing, in Safari. Go to ChatGPT. Ask them. These are things you're not taught. Why? Because it paints the government in a bad light, and they want you to invest with them so that they can steal your money. And your money is your time. It's your labor, your time away from your children, your spouse, your hobbies, your passion in life that God made you for. And they steal that from you, decades of your life. And you're just like, I don't know. Everybody else does 401k, so I'll just do that. It's like you could do whatever you like, but please, at least you can't say what my dad said. That really made me furious. No one ever told me, Joe. No one, I didn't know. Well, my whole life for 23 years, I've been screaming at the top of a rooftop. Can't say you didn't know. This strategy works, proven, saves you money on taxes, interest rate, market downside, builds legacies. When I'm dead and gone, there's going to be great grandchildren that aren't even born yet that are benefiting off the strategies I do today. And that's why I love doing what I do.
Dude, and like get me when I run through a wall, right? And this is something where we are today. This is a conversation that people are needing to have because like the pied or not the piper. What was the expression like the guys coming home, the chickens are coming home to roost, like whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, pay the piper. That's the
Yeah,
expression.
pay the piper.
Don't worry, I'll have my stroke and we'll be fine. But like at the end of the day, right? Like we have to acknowledge that you do have to start focusing on this stuff because the government's not going to be there to be like buddy buddy. And you're a fool if you think that's the case. Like that's just that is you're right, Joe. Like we go to the government schools and they're gonna teach you how great the government is. Surprise, surprise. FBI does an investigation on self and finds self not responsible. It's like that is the exact type of mentality we have to think about in the education system and how we look at our dollars and cents. So at the end of the day, right? Like this is why I like to have you on the show because you talk real common sense about what is actually happening financially, but also you're giving a blueprint. And this is where, I'm going to let you bring us home, but like everything we've talked about today for someone who just they're driving in their car, they're listening, and they're like, okay, this sounds good, but I just don't have the bandwidth to take this on. This is why I'm so happy to have you guys as the new sponsor, Ironhawk Financial, because you guys are more or less giving folks the easy button, right? So, with all that being said, Joe, bring us home. Like, what do you want the audience to walk away from today's conversation really thinking? And then obviously for the action items, I mean, I gave them the call to action. Go check out Ironhawk Financial, but Money Talk with Ironhawk. Other than that, bring us home. What are your thoughts?
I You don't have to work with us, right? There's
You
not
should.
too many companies that do what we do. To be honest, we do advanced markets. Like 99% of people in our industry sell like term insurance, whole life. They sell Medicaid. They sell final expense. They sell mortgage protections. They're easy products and they want volume, right? 23 years, I have 3,700 clients, right? So it's not like I'm seeing 20, 30 people a day, right? But the people I am seeing are people that actually care. You're getting white glove service. You're getting a custom plan set for you based on your assets, income, time horizon, based on your goals. Do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Right? These are the things that people don't have, and I have estate planning attorneys, tax attorneys, CPAs, all on my payroll. Right? I bring a lot of value. Right? And it's so important. It just you have to care about yourself. You have to love yourself. And if you're not there yet, financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, just pray or work harder or just don't spend as much, right? And have some discipline, which is very hard being American. We're so distracted, right? But if it sounds something you want to look into, it's absolutely free. I've never charged a client $1 in 23 years to work with me ever. I had many people call me dumb. I charge $10,000 for a financial plan. I'm like, but you're also making back end commissions. So you're double hitting them for what? Like I'm doing this. My why is stronger than money. I have money. I don't have to work anymore. I'm 41. I could have retired at 37. My mission's different. My mission is I'm looking to build this company for my children. I have 3 of them. They love doing what I'm doing. Some are on my Instagram, Ironhawk Financial _ media. I got my son in a hawk suit. It got almost 10,000 views. It's pretty funny. But it's just I'm having fun. I'm protecting families, saving people money. People love me. Get a lot of referrals. Care about you. Nobody else is I can't care about somebody else to say, "I'm gonna get you life insurance." It's against the law. I need to know your social, your date of birth, I need an insurable interest, right? So, you need to make sure you spend the time to set this up, and once it's set, it's done. And it's one of those things where you're gonna make money over time. So, it's actually an asset on the balance sheet. It's not a liability. People hear life insurance and they think death insurance. And it's not. Like, I don't sell death insurance. There's a lot of things that can happen to you, and one of them is you live long. And then I hear people with pensions like, "Oh, I'm gonna take all the pensions, or I'm gonna lower my benefits to get spousal." It's like, that only covers one of 4 things. Either if both of you and your spouse die early, both you and your spouse live long, or God forbid, your spouse dies, you're just gonna lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in income because you did the wrong choice. So there's so many things that I can help you with. You just have to understand the value. And I partnered with Mr. Nichols here because I know he comes from his heart as I do. I know he's ethical, moral. His why is to bring value, to educate, to motivate, to bring education that the mainstream media suppresses. And partnering with somebody like him is a no-brainer because we share a common goal, which is to do the right thing, help people, and make money for our family. And that's all it is. And then we have a very similar life path, in different. I may be higher in financially. He was higher in physicality and mentality when I met him. And I'm trying to catch up to him. He's trying to catch up to me. And it's just cool to partner with people that you trust. And I'm very thankful to allow me back on your platform. And I'm excited to do some good work, especially with your listeners.
Amen, brother. And at the end of the day, right? Like, this is why we do this show, is because I want to have folks on who are infinitely smarter than me and better than me in all these different areas, because this is how we get better as like a people. I've done this show now for going on 8 years, over 8 years. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like, and that for me, I've had over 1,000+ episodes. I've talked to some incredible folks. And it's just like, to be able to have that wealth of knowledge and almost like that knowledge base of folks in the archives, and then to be able to go through, and I mean, I'm not trying to say we have the magic wand to solve all the problems, but my goodness, if like we were able to get more people to start having these conversations, we'd be in a much better spot, right? So I hope that the show, we set the mission back in 2018 was to leave folks educated, enlightened, and informed. And you know what, man? I think where we are today with today's episode, we did a pretty darn good job. So, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there. I think for the audience, if you are looking to take that step, obviously you need to reach out to Joe and his amazing team over at Ironhawk Financial. Links are going to be in the show notes. And of course, go ahead, give the podcast a listen. Money Talk with the Ironhawk, Joe Lombardi himself. Joe, final thought to bring us home. And of course, hit us with those social media deets if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in all 3 of my 5-star rated books on Amazon, Being Your Own Bank, There's a Better Way Than a 401k, or Long-Term Care Without Long-Term Pain, just send an email to info@ironhawkfinancial.com. On social medias, we're at Ironhawk everywhere. We started a newer channel on Instagram at Ironhawk Financial _media. I got the luxury partnering with LA Films. He's the guy who shot like music videos for very famous people, and he's now working with me exclusively. So content's very high quality, which is what I wanted to give to people who follow me. And just keep listening and understand that what Brian's doing is important. What I'm doing is important. That there's a reason why God chose us and these roles, and we believed in ourselves, and we've been successful at them. So reach out, get the information. You don't have to meet with us. You just write an email to info@ironhawkfinancial.com, and it'll automatically send you books, articles, magazines, website, radio shows. My 26 episodes I did on Brushwood Media, that's on Apple Music and Apple Podcasts. Like, it'll send you everything. And then if you want to meet with us, feel free to book a meeting. But like I said, it's absolutely free.
There we go. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and put a pin in today's conversation, folks. If you got some value, please go ahead and give today's episode a share. But I think we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. With that being said, Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show for the one and only Joe Lombardi. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.